Yeah, in the last class, we have discussed about IPsec, right? So we are implementing the lab for whatever the things that we have discussed in the IPsec. Okay? Before that, this is my topology. Okay, this is firewall one and firewall two, which is connected using an Ethernet 1/3, and I have connected PCs using a switch to the firewall using an interface Ethernet 1/1, and firewall to us, I have connected one PC using an Ethernet 1/1. Let us consider the firewall one, the PCs that are connected in a subnet of 30.30.30.0/24, and you can take it as an 40.40.40.0/24 subnet. Okay, what is our main motto of this IPsec lab is we need to form an IPsec tunnel between firewall 1 and firewall 2, and in the same way we need to reach from this remote from our local site to the remote site. Okay, use through the IPsec tunnel. Okay, so first thing, to build up a IPsec, the first thing that you need to configure is what are the things that we need to configure before doing the lab. Okay, before doing the lab, I am listing all everything that we need to configure, all the basics in that we have discussed in the basic lab. Okay, we have to use that basic configuration in every lab. I'm always telling you that whatever the configuration that we did in the basic lab, okay, that configuration will continues. Apart from that, we are configuring extra during an our topic related. Okay, the first thing that you need to create is an tunnel interface. Okay, because this tunnel interface will be used for to form an IPsec tunnel, and also to carry our data. Okay, for whatever the data that we are transmitting from, or whatever data we are sending from this site to this site, all this tunnel interface will be taken care of. So we need to create a tunnel interface, and second thing is we need to create an IKE phase 1. Okay, IKE phase 1 parameters, we need to configure IKE phase 1 parameters. In the Palo Alto, we can call it as an IKE crypto. Okay, we have an separate option in the network tab, I will show you. And third thing is an IPsec crypto. Okay, IPsec crypto, which is an IPsec phase 2 parameters, we can call it as an IPsec crypto. Fourth thing is an IKE gateway. Okay, IKE gateway, in the sense we are forming an IPsec phase 1 here. Okay, the fifth thing is an IPsec tunnel. Whenever you are configuring IPsec tunnel, this is our phase 2. Okay, this is our phase 2. Here in this we are configuring parameters. Okay, here we are configuring parameters. The actual phase 1 and phase 2 will be formed in the fourth and fifth step, which is an IKE gateway. IKE gateway is called IPsec phase 1, and IPsec tunnel is an IKE phase 2. Okay, and after that we need to create an sixth thing is an policies. Okay, why we need policies means here we are configuring, let's suppose this is our one inside network. Okay, this is our other inside network. Let's suppose this here we are configuring IPsec tunnel, right? We can call it as an VPN. Okay, we will be configuring this zone as an VPN zone. This is an inside, and this is also one of inside zone in one side, and this is also inside zone in the other side. Okay, so in order to allow the traffic from inside to VPN zone, and in the same way VPN zone to inside of this site, and here also from inside to VPN zone, and from VPN zone to inside, to allow the traffic from inside to VPN in both the sites. So we need to configure and policies. After configuring policies, the seventh step is we need to configure static route. Okay, why we need static route means we are telling the firewall whenever you see the traffic to this destination. Okay, here in this Palo Alto firewall one. Okay, here in the firewall one, whenever traffic to the destination 40.40.40.0.24, we are telling that firewall to route this traffic through the tunnel interface. Okay, for that we need to configure a static route. In the same way, here also you need to configure a static route. Whenever you see the route to the destination 30.30.30.0, you need to forward the traffic through the tunnel interface. Okay, here we are forming an tunnel, right? Here we are using tunnel interface. So we are configuring static route on both the firewalls to directing the firewall to forward the traffic through the tunnel interface. Okay, I will show you how we can configure a static route as well. Okay, we will proceed with this all these 7 steps. Okay, and after that we can also verify the how IPsec will be formed. Okay, there are some verification steps as well. I will show you once we'll build up the lab. Okay, let me start configuring. Okay, let me log into these firewalls. No. Actually, I'm having an IP address, but this IP address is map. It doesn't map to any of the port inside of our cloud. So I want to change the IP address of this firewall. Okay. We can also statically configure the IP address on the firewall. I will show you how can we configure a static IP on the Palo Alto firewall. Okay. Set device config. Okay. System, we need to mention the type as an if you are using static, you can use the static, or otherwise you can configure an dynamic DHCP client. Okay, so we are configuring static, right? So I'm using a type as an static, and whatever the IP address that you want, you can configure. If you don't want get if you are not getting any IP from the DHCP server, so you can also configure an IP address statically on the firewall. Okay, 192.168.0.122 and net mask 255.255.255.0, and you need to mention the default gateway. If you know the default gateway, you need to mention, otherwise obviously we need a default gateway. Okay, if there is no default gateway configured, we won't know how to reach this 192.168.0.122. Okay, After configuring this, you need to commit until unless it commits, this IP address won't be taken care. Okay, so I will log in this first firewall, which is an 121. Sorry, 03. Is that configuration? I will show you the configuration and one firewall. Okay, I am configuring this on the firewall one. See here, if you once you log in on the firewall, it will show the dashboard, right? So if you want to configure an IPsec, everything will be under the network tab. Okay, so in the network tab, one thing you need to do is you need to configure tunnel interface. Just go on the tunnel, and we have a tunnel one, right? So you can add. If you want to add, you can add the number. It is already mentioned the tunnel, and if you can add tunnel 3. Click on OK. The tunnel 3 will be created, and also you need to create a zone for this. Okay, here we have a tunnel 3, right? Just mention the virtual router and as well as zone. Okay, VPN zone. We have already created VPN zone, just mention that VPN zone, and the tunnel interface is created, and you need to configure an phase 1 parameters, right? So we have a network profile. In the network profile we have IK crypto. If you click on IK crypto, you will show the tunnels, whatever the phase 1 parameter that you are configuring here, it will show here. So I'm adding a new phase 1 parameters. Okay, I'm mentioning the name as an IK phase 1. See here, DH group, I told you, right? DH group, the higher the number, it will be a more secure. Okay, we have 1 2 5 14 19 20. Okay, we can go with the 20, which is an higher. And here authentication is not an actual authentication, we can call it as an hashing algorithm. We have MD5, SHA, 256, 384 and 512. We can use whatever you want. Okay, all the things will be whatever the algorithm that we are using, everything will be doing hashing the same way. Okay, I'm going with an MD5, and encryption also will have 3DS, AES and DES. Okay, and you can choose whatever you want. Okay, I'm going with any one of this AES 256 CBC, and this is a lifetime. Okay, this is a lifetime. The default lifetime of this phase 1 is 8 hours. If you want, you can extend also. Okay, if you drop down, you can have days, hours, minutes, seconds. Okay, you can also mention the days, whatever the days that you want. You can have this until 365 days. You can just go with the default one, 8 hours. Okay, after every 8 hours it will be the IPsec tunnels will automatically rekeying. Okay, rekeying in sense they will be negotiating the parameters automatically after 8 hours. If anything happen in between rekeying, so the tunnels will go down in between. Okay, so these are the things that you need to configure in IKE phase 1, and you can go with an IPsec crypto, which is an see here, I'm configuring it as an IKE phase 2 parameters. Okay, here we have the name should be anything, whatever the name that you want, you can mention IKE phase 2. See here, automatically by default the IPsec protocol is selecting an ESP protocol, because in the we have two protocols, right? We have ESP and AH. In ESP we'll have encryption as additional one, but in the AH we don't have encryption. In the AH it will support only authentication and integrity, but in the ESP we have authentication, integrity, and along with that we'll be having encryption. Okay, so whenever you are configuring IPsec between site to site, ESP will be chosen by default. If you want to configure, you can also configure AH. Okay, see here, if you configure AH, you are seeing only the authentication, it won't supporting encryptions. Okay, so if you select ESP only, it will support the encryption, so you can add the encryption here, which is an but whatever the parameters that you have configured in IK crypto should be same or should not be same, that not be an a problem. But whatever the parameters that we are configuring in one firewall one, that should be matching in the firewall 2, whether it is IKE phase 1 or phase 2. Okay, here also I'm going with AES 256 CBC, and authentication as MD5, and group I'm going with N20. Here also the lifetime, as you can, whatever the lifetime that you mentioned, it will also supports 365 days. So by default it will be having 1 hour. For every 1 hour it is also rekeying, means it will also negotiating the parameters. Okay, and these are the things that you need to configure in the IPsec phase 2. These are the IPsec phase 2 parameters. Here actual phase 1 will be developing here. Okay, actual phase 1 will be developing here. And what is the Ethernet that we are seeing here? Ethernet 1/3, right? So you need to enable Ethernet 1/3 as well. Here go on the interface, Ethernet. Here we are having Ethernet 1/3, right? So let us change the IP address, the same configuration. Okay, virtual router, and mention the security zone as outside. You can just you can go within 100.1. Okay, this is our Ethernet 1/3, which we are connecting between the sites, right? Here I am configuring as an 100.1. We have configured directly, right? So we are using an same subnet here, 100.1 and 100.2, but in the real time scenario this should not be like this. It will be like you need to know the IP address of this other site, then only you can configure. Okay, you can configure here, and also here as well. Okay, so here in this case I am directly connect directly connected, right? So I am taking as an in the same subnet. Okay, so here I am configuring 100.1/24. And next thing is, and you need to configure IK gateway, right? In the IK gateway what you can do is, this is an old one, I will just delete this or disable this old one, we don't have confusion. So let's take IKE phase 1 tunnel. Here in the IKE we will be having two versions, IKE v1 and IKE v2. Okay, what are the basic difference between IKE v1 and IKE v2 is, IKE v1 in IKE v1 we'll be having less bandwidth of IPsec tunnels, but in IKE v2 we'll be having more bandwidth. And IKE v1 is also a slow process, and IKE v2 is an fast process. But in the IKV2 by default NAT will be enabled, but in IKV1 NAT will not be enabled by default. If we want we can be enabling the NAT T. Okay, so but we are going with an IKV1 only, because we don't want to enable NAT T because we don't have any NAT device in between. Okay, if you have NAT device in between we can enable, but in this case we don't have, so I'm going with IKV1. And address type is, we'll be having two types. Okay, IPv4 and IP6. But what is this address type? Means whatever the IP address that we are configuring on these interfaces, we are using IPv4, right? So I'm selecting as an IPv4. If you are using IPv6 on these interfaces, Ethernet 1/3 and on both the firewalls, if you are using IPv6, you can select here IPv6. Okay, so I'm using IPv4, right? I have selected IPv4, and here select the interface, whatever the interface that we are using, and local IP, whatever the IP that you have configured, it will reflect here. Just select that, and peer IP address as well. We have three types of peer IP address. Peer IP means whatever the IP that we have configured here on this interface. Okay, whether it is an IP, okay, or FQDN or dynamic. IP means whatever the static IP that we have configured. Dynamic means whether if you are getting IP address on this interface through any DHCP server in in this network. But here in this case, we don't have any FQDNs or dynamic. We are statically configuring IPs, right? So you can just select an IP and configure an IP address. I am going to configure that IP address 192.168.100.2. Okay. In this case, this is a 100.1. I am directly connected, right? So I am taking this as 100.2 and I am configuring it as an 100.2 here. See here, actual authentication is this one. Authentication, which is an pre-shared key or authentic certificate. Pre-shared key means you can manually configure whatever the things, whatever the pre-shared key that you want. Like I'm configuring as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as an authentication key. Okay, and also you can confirm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you want to use any other alphanumeric, or if you want to use any special character also, you can use. That is one good thing with this pre-shade key. Whatever we want, we can configure. It will be easily handled. Okay, but if you are using certificate, you need to get the certificate from third party if you have a third party certificate vendor, or you can generate a certificate in your firewall as well. We have generated a certificate for SSL, right? SSL decryption in the certificate store. How we can generate a certificate? You can also generate a certificate and you can be using that certificate here, but I'm going with the pre-shared key because for me it is an easy thing to configure. Whatever the pre-shared key that we have configured here on this firewall, you need to configure same pre-shared key on the other side as well. Okay, I configured 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this, and the same pre-shared key that should be matched on this firewall as well. Okay, you need to configure same pre-shared key, then only our parameters will match, then only the phase 1 will come up. This IKE gateway is mainly for the phase 1. Okay, and local identification, if you want, you can use the local identification here. In the same way, you will have FQDN, IP address, key ID, user, FQDN. What is the local identification means? Whatever the IP address that we are using. Okay, this is this 100, this is just for the identification purpose. Okay, and in the advanced options, see here we have in the common options we have passive mode, NAT transversal. Okay, here you can enable the NAT transversal whenever you have a NAT device in between, but we don't have a NAT device, right? So I'm not enabling this. Here the exchange mode, whatever the phase 1 modes. Okay, phase 1 mode we have main mode and aggressive mode, right? I'm just going with an auto. I will see which mode it will select. Okay, in the between the side to side, what I told you, in the between side to side VPN, whenever you are forming IPsec, the firewalls will choose only the main mode. Okay, so I'm going with an auto here. We can see which mode the firewall will select, whether it will select main mode or whether it will select aggressive mode. I will show you in the packet capture. Okay, so here IK crypto profile, whatever the, this is phase 1, right? Whatever the parameter that we have configured an IK crypto, we need to call here. Okay, we need to call here whatever the things that we have configured for the IK phase 1. Okay, whatever the parameter that you have configured here, it will reflect once you drop down here, and you can select one among those. And here deadbeat detection, what is deadbeat detection in the firewall means, let's suppose you have formed an phase 1 tunnel, and you can also form phase 2 tunnel. Everything is flowing good. Okay, the traffic is flowing good and everything is working fine. For some reason this firewall went down. Okay, let's suppose firewall went down, and the firewall don't know what happened to the firewall. What it will do is it will wait for whatever the deadbeat detection interval that we have configured. Okay, here we have configured interval is 5 means here these all the intervals are in seconds only. Okay, the interval is 5 seconds, retry is 5 times. Okay, it will wait for 5 seconds and it will retry first time, and again it will wait for 5 seconds, and it will retry second time until 5 retries. It will wait, means 5 into 5, it will wait for 25 seconds. And if you are not getting response from the firewall one, this firewall, the firewall 2 will consider the peer is dead, and it will be disconnecting the, or it will be removing the, not removing, the tunnels. Okay, phase 1 and phase 2 will go down on the firewall 2 until the firewall 1 will come up. Okay, the firewall will come up, and then negotiation starts, then only the tunnels will be up and running. Okay, that is the dead period detection means here. Here one more thing is an enable passive mode, right? When we use enable passive mode, okay, when we use enable passive mode means here we are configuring both the IP address on the both the sites as an static, right? Here we have configured static IP, here we have configured static IP. If any of the firewall we are configuring dynamic IP. Okay, dynamic means if you are getting IP address, whatever the interface that are connecting to the both the sites, if any of the interface on the firewall or any of the interface on one side, that is connecting to the other side is a dynamic. Okay, for suppose let us take, I have configured it as a static here on ethernet 1/3, and on the other side I am getting an ethernet 1/3 as an IP address from the DHCP server, means dynamic, right? So in that case we need to enable the passive mode. Okay, one side static, one side dynamic, then only you can enable the passive mode. Okay, where you have to enable the passive mode means where the firewall which has a static IP. Okay, let's suppose on the firewall we have a static IP, on the firewall 2 we have a dynamic IP. So we need to enable the passive mode on this firewall where we have configured static IP. What happens when we enable the passive mode means, when you enable the passive mode, the firewall will always be a responder. Okay, because we don't know what is the IP address here. Okay, if we are initiating the traffic, we need to know the IP address on the other side, right? If it is a dynamic, we don't know the IP address, or maybe the IP address maybe change in the fraction of seconds, or the we don't know what is that IP address that is there on the other side of the site. Okay, so in that case what we do is we can enable the passive mode here, and whenever you enable the passive mode, this firewall will always be acting as a responder. Okay? Responder means this will initiate the traffic, and it will be responding to the IPsec negotiations. Okay, we have initiator and the responder, right? Whoever initiating the traffic, that will be act as an initiator, and whoever we have receiving the traffic, that will be acting as a responder. Okay, so in that case if you have static IP on one side and dynamic IP on other side, then only you can use an passive mode. But in this case we are using both as a static, right? So we no need to enable this. Okay, but both sides dynamic won't be, both sides static will be applicable, both side one side static, one side dynamic is applicable. Okay, but both sides dynamic is not supported in the Palo Alto IPsec. Okay, if you are configuring dynamic on both sides, if you are getting IP address on interfaces by dynamically, so that will not be supported on the Palo Alto. Okay, either it will be an static or static dynamic. Okay, these are the options that we can use. Okay, passive mode and NAT, and these are the parameters. Okay, just click on OK. Our phase 1 tunnel is done, and also you can go with the phase 2, which is an IPsec tunnel. What I can do is I can also disable this is an old one. Okay, and let me add the new one. Just go with IKE phase 2 tunnel. Okay, the name should be anything. Okay, the name should be anything, whatever the name that you want you can use. And tunnel interface we have configured in the first step, right? What is the tunnel interface that we have configured? Tunnel interface 3. Okay, and the type is auto key or manual key or global protocol. Auto key means whatever the parameters that we have configured, it will be automatically rekeying. Okay, manual means we, if anything for suppose the tunnels will be up and running and something happen in between, uh, something can happen between the whatever the traffic flowing through the tunnels, and for suppose one of the phase 1 or phase 2 tunnel goes down. Okay, this is for the phase 2, right? So if phase 2 tunnel is goes down and it come back again, okay, in that case it will needs to be renegotiate, right? So in that case it will be, if you select the auto key, it will renegotiate automatically, but if you select the manual, if you need to initiate the negotiation manually. Okay, so always go with an auto key, because if any something is happen in between, if you are not there also, if it come back, it will automatically renegotiate with the tunnel. Okay, and you can also go with the address IPv4 and the IKE gateway, whatever the IKE gateway that we have configured for this. Okay, IKE phase 1 tunnel, right? So we need to call the IKE gateway, and also the IPsec crypto. Okay, whatever the IPsec crypto that we have configured, IKE phase 2, so that we need to call here. And this is the general tab that we are using. But in the proxy IDs, okay, proxy IDs, why we use proxy IDs here in this firewall means, in I need to tell you one thing. These all the Palo Alto firewalls are route-based VPNs. Okay, these what are the what are the VPNs that we are configuring in the Palo Alto? Those are all route-based VPNs. Means the the traffic will be flown through the tunnel using an routes. Okay, whether it is a static route or a dynamic route. Okay, but if you are forming a IPsec between different vendors, like one side is Palo Alto, other side is FortiGate, and one side is Palo Alto, other side is an Cisco ASR, one side is Palo Alto, other side is any checkpoint firewall. Okay, in that case, what you have need to do is you need to mention the proxy IDs, because all other vendor firewalls are policy based VPNs. Policy based VPN means they work based upon the policies that we are configuring. Okay, but Palo Alto firewall will be working based upon the routes. In that case, if you are forming an IPsec tunnel between different vendors, you need to mention the proxy IDs. Proxy IDs means whatever the remote local address, local sites and remote sites. Here we are having an remote subnet, right? 30.30.30.0/24, and other side is 40.40.40.0/24, right? The same thing that you need to mention. Okay, if you click on add, you just mention the proxy ID. If you want one, you can just go with one. Local ID means 30.30.30.0/24. We are just intimating the tunnel. If any of the traffic comes with these routes, okay, it will flow through the tunnel. Okay, 40.40.40.0/24. Okay, just go with an protocol one, and proxy ID you can just mention anything. Okay, so here likewise you can configure. Okay, in this firewall I configured as an local as an 30 dot network and remote as an 40, but in this firewall it will be different, it will be reverse. Okay, in this firewall the local will be 40 and remote will be 30, because this is a local site to this firewall. So whatever the subnet that you have, not only the 40, whatever the whatever the subnet that we are using in attached to this firewall. Okay, and that will be a local to this firewall, and this will be a remote. Okay, if you are forming a IPsec tunnel between different vendors, but in this case I am forming a tunnel between same vendor, right? Palo Alto, I don't need these proxy IDs. Okay, I don't need these proxy IDs, and these are the just general thing that you need to configure. See here there is 100.1 and 100 is formed, and the same thing. Okay, what are the next thing that we need to do? We need to configure an policies. Okay, which is from inside to VPN and VPN to inside. I think it is already in place, it seems. See here, likewise, you need to configure inside to VPN, which is an source to the inside and destination to outside. Set the action as an allow. Okay, and then create an one more policy which is for VPN to inside. Means this is inside to VPN and VPN to inside. Okay, likewise you have to configure, and after that what you need to do is you need to configure an static route, where you can create a static route in the network. We'll having an virtual router. Okay, In the virtual router, what you need to do is just click on the default. We'll be having static route. Just click on add. You can create a static route here. Okay, give the name, whatever the name that you want. I am giving the name destination 40.40.40.0. Okay, just for remembering purpose, what is the destination for? Okay, and the destination is 40.40.40.0/24. Okay, and interface, you need to mention the interface. What is the interface that we need to configure? Means this is a tunnel interface we are mentioning. Whenever the traffic receives to this destination on this firewall, I am sending the, I'm directing the firewall to send the traffic through the tunnel. Okay, what are the tunnel interface that we have configured? I'm mentioning that you we are directing the traffic towards the tunnel. Okay, and if you are using tunnel interface, just go with the next hop as a none. Okay, because we are initiating a tunnel between the two sides. Okay, if you initiate the tunnel here, it will always be ended on the other side only. Okay, so no need to use of a next hop. If you are using any ethernet or any of the ethernet interfaces, you can just go with the next hop. Because and if you are using a tunnel interface, you no need to configure next hop, because it will always be initiating a tunnel on one side and ending on the other side, right? Which we are trusting them. Okay, so no need of using any next hop. It will obviously landed on the other side. Okay, and these are the things that you need to configure in virtual route. Just click on OK, it will be added here. Okay, just click on OK, that's it. And these are the things that we need to configure. Just submit the configuration. Okay, and I will try to log in under firewall as well. We will configure the same things on this firewall as well. Okay, any doubts or any clarifications on the configuration? I think this is a fresh firewall. I don't have any configuration. Let me configure it first. Okay, if you have any doubts, you just stop me. I will just go the same configuration. Okay, whatever the we have configured on the firewall one, I am just configuring here. I am just going to enable this Ethernet 1/1 and 1/3 and create a tunnel. Okay, and Ethernet 1/1, which we are going with an L3, and virtual route, we can go with a default virtual route. And security zone, we need to create a security zone. Okay, I am going with an inside. And IPv4. Okay, in the IPv4, what we are going to do is I have mentioned it as an 40 dot network, right? So I'm going with 40.40.40.10 on this interface. Okay, on this Ethernet 1/1, 40.40.40.10/24 IP address I'm configuring here. And IPv6 nothing, SD-WAN nothing, and advanced you can create a management profile. Okay, just to allow the ping, allow ping, and I have configured this and click on OK. And Ethernet 1/3, right? Ethernet 1/3 L3 virtual router default. And security zone, you can just configure it as an outside. IPv4, here this is right, this is interface. Here I have configured 192.168.100.1, and I'm configuring 192.168.100.2 on this interface. Okay, 192.168.100.2/24. That's it. and no need to having a management profile here. Okay, and after that you need to create a tunnel interface. On the other side I have configured an tunnel 3, right? No need of configuring any the same tunnel number. Okay, if we want to go with the tunnel 1, you can also go with tunnel 1, or if you want to same tunnel, I'm going with tunnel 1. Okay, because I don't have any tunnel 1, I am using on this firewall with the tunnel 1. But this is not an important thing. We need to match the tunnel numbers on both the sides. If you want whatever the tunnels that are free on this firewall, you can go with that. Okay, I'm not using any tunnels, right? I'm going with the one, and the virtual router is default. And whatever the thing that you need to do is you can just create an one zone, okay, which is called VPN zone. Click on OK and just go with the management profile. Allow ping. Tunnel interface is created, right? So what the next thing that we need to do is we need to create an IPsec crypto, the phase 1, IKE phase 1. What the group that we have configured, group 20, and authentication and hashing is MD5, and encryption is whatever the parameters that we have configured other side of the on the phase 1 of other firewall. You need to mention the same. I am going with AS256 CBC, which is the same as another side. And lifetime also here on the other firewall we are going the default one, right? And here also I'm going with the default parameters for the lifetime. And IPsec crypto, just go with configure an IPsec crypto, IKE phase 2. And encryption here AES256 CBC, and authentication MD5 DH group 20, and lifetime is 1 hour. Okay, just click on OK. And IKE gateway, just add, give the name IKE phase 1 tunnel, and IKE version. Okay, this IKE version also should match. Okay, whatever the IKE version that you are using on the other side, that should be match. Interface Ethernet 1/3, local IP, whatever the configured, it will reflect here. Just select that. And peer IP, you need to mention the peer IP 192.168.100.1 as in my peer IP. And authentication pre-shared grade, what pre-shared grade that we have set, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And also confirm pre-shared key 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And I haven't used it in local identification. I'm going to an advanced option. Here also you will see passive mode and NAT. Okay, if you enable NAT, and you need to enable NAT on both sides, but you don't need to enable passive mode on both sides. Okay, wherever you are see you configure static IP, then only you can enable the passive mode. Okay, but NAT you need to enable on both sides. If you have any NAT device in between, you need to enable on both sides. And exchange mode, we are going with an auto. Other side also I selected an auto. IKE crypto, just select whatever the IKE crypto profile that we are using. Okay, and also dead period detection C. This is a IKE phase 1 parameters. Okay, and also IKE phase 1 tunnel we have configured. Next go with an IKE phase 2. Click on add. Okay, IPsec phase 2 tunnel, tunnel interface tunnel 1, and type auto key, address type IPv4. Just configure and call the IKE gateway that we have configured. Okay, IKE phase 1 tunnel and IPsec crypto, IKE phase 2. And proxy IDs we are not configuring here because we have already configuring IPsec between same vendors. Okay, just click on OK. It will be showing like this, right? After this we need to configure in policies. Okay, what are the policies that we need to configure? I will show you here. Okay, inside to VPN, just go with the source which is called inside, destination as VPN, and everything should be any, and go with the action allow. Okay, if you want to allow, you can also mention the IP applications, right? Okay, IPsec you will be having IPsec. See here we will be having IPsec, and if you want to mention, you can also mention IKE. You'll be having IKE. Okay, you can go with that, or otherwise if you want to go with any, you can also mention any. Okay, I'm going with an anyway. And you can also add one more thing. This is for from return traffic VPN to inside. Source zone is VPN, which the traffic coming from the VPN zone, and destination is an outside, and action is an allow. Okay, after this what we need to configure is we need to configure a static route. Okay, because on this firewall we need to tell the router, right, if the traffic destined towards this destination, you need to flow through the tunnel. Okay, whatever the traffic, whatever the static route that you have configured on the other router, you need to configure in the same way. Okay, here in the virtual router you have a default route. Click on the default and select the static route. You can, if you select the static route, it will be appearing like this, and just click on add. Give the name. What is the name? The destination to 30.30.30.0, and I am going with the destination 30.30.30.0/24. And I interface that you need to mention what is the tunnel interface. Okay, if you are configuring static route for the IPsec tunnel, you need to go with the tunnel interface only. Okay, not with the Ethernet interfaces. If you are using a tunnel interface, a tunnel, just go with the next stop as and none. Okay, just click on OK. Okay, that's it. And I think everything is completed. We have configured phase 1 parameters, tunnel interface, phase 2 parameters, and phase 1 tunnel, phase 2 tunnel, policies, static routes. Everything is done. So just go ahead, commit this configuration. And also we need to configure an IP address on these Windows machines, right? Let's take one Windows machine. Let's see if I able to get. Yeah, I have an IP address. Okay, 30.30.30.1 here. Let's see another. This is my Windows 10. Okay, this is my Windows 10 which is on one side, and this is my Windows 7 which is on other side. Okay, I'm just checking the other side Windows machine. We don't have an IP address, right? You can configure an IP address. You can get an IP address in two ways, right? If you want, you can configure an DSP server on this interface, or otherwise you can just go with manual one. I am configuring it as a manual on this Windows machine. Okay, just go on the properties, IPv4, and again click on properties. Just click on user IP address. Okay, what IP address that we need to mention? This is an 40 dot network, right? This is 40 dot network. I'm going with 40.40.40.1. Okay, 40.40.40.1. Subnet is 255.255.255.0, Default gateway is, what is the default gateway for us? This is a default gateway. What is the Ethernet 1/1 is the default gateway. What is the IP address? 40.40.40.10, right? Let me re-verify that. And the Ethernet 1/1, what is a 40.40.40.10 is our default gateway. The same one you need to configure, 40.40.40.10. Okay, just give the any DNS 8.8.8.8. Just click on OK, close, close. Let's check if we have an IP address now. Yeah, we have an IP address. I think everything is done. We need to have an verification steps only. Okay, we have if you want to check on the firewall, okay, if you want to check on the firewall, you can verify the IPsec tunnels. Okay, IPsec tunnels on GUI in the network tab, IPsec tunnel. Okay, in the GUI, if you want to see the status of this IPsec tunnels, both the phase 1 and phase 2, you need to navigate to network and IPsec tunnels. Okay, if you want to see, just go on the network. If you see the IPsec tunnels, see here the tunnel info. This IK info is mainly for the phase 1. Okay, this is the phase 1 info, where you have, see here, IKE phase 1 tunnel. Whatever the tunnel that we have configured here, it will be show here. We don't have any information right now. And in the same way for phase 2, this tunnel info means phase 2 information. Okay, this phase 2 is also nothing is there. We are seeing the, if the phase 1 on phase 2 tunnels are up, you will show the red light here, but sorry, green light. But here the we are seeing the red light, right? So if you are seeing the red light, the tunnels are not up as of now. And the next thing that you need to do is, you need to bring up the tunnel. Okay, before that I will show you the verification on the CLA as well. Okay, if you need to verify this, want to check the tunnel status on the CLA, show VPN, okay, name, and you can mention the tunnel name. Okay, whatever the tunnel name that you have. This is the phase 1. And if you have a phase 2, sorry, this VPN name and tunnel name is phase 2. And we have a VPN, and we have a gateway. Since I will verify that, see here, show VPN. Yeah, we have a gateway and gateway name, whatever the gateway that we have mentioned. Okay, gateway name, it will show here. You can take that IK phase 1. Here it is showing here it is showing the proposals, but we are seeing only the proposals only. This is for the phase 1. If you need to check the phase 2, show VPN tunnel name, okay, and tunnel name. We have IKE phase 2, right? No, just give the, we haven't configured phase 2 here. I think the commit was not successful. We are not seeing the tunnels that we have configured here. If I want to show in the other firewall, okay, just click on exit, show VPN, gateway, name, IKE phase 1 tunnel. Okay, and the next thing is show VPN tunnel name, IKE, okay, IPsec. it will show like this, but here yeah, the commit is failed. Why the commit is failed? Network IKE gateway IKE TBN local IP address is not valid, interference is not okay. Whatever the we have disabled, right, it is showing as an invalid interference. If you want, we can delete that. I think it won't delete, it seems, because it is we have referred it somewhere else, right? Oh, nothing will happen. We can enable it because we have changed IP address, right? Okay, we can enable this one as well. Let's commit one more time. And there is one more command as well. Okay, show VPN flow name, and you can mention the tunnel name here, IPsec phase 2 tunnel. See here, if the tunnel is up and running, you can see the encapsulation and decapsulation bytes. Okay, if encapsulation and decapsulation is not if you are not seeing encapsulation and decapsulation bytes here, it is showing a 00, right? If you are seeing the 00, the tunnels are not up. Okay, if the tunnels are up, anything, okay, any encapsulation and decapsulation will increase. What will happen if encapsulation packets increase and decapsulation bytes decreases? Okay, what will happen means, whenever traffic flowing out of the firewall, okay, let's suppose I am trying to ping 30.30.30.10 to, oh, sorry, 30.30.30.1 to 40.40.40.1. okay, whenever traffic reaches this firewall, what the firewall will do is the firewall will encrypt the traffic here. Okay, whenever the traffic leaving out of the firewall through the IPsec tunnel, the firewall will encrypt, right? So in that case, what will do means the firewall encapsulation bytes will increase on this firewall. Okay, and it will send the traffic to this firewall through the IPsec tunnel, and the firewall too will decrypt the traffic here. It will decrypt the traffic here, and at that time in the firewall too, the decryption bytes and decryption packets will increase. Okay, and it will decrypt the traffic and it will send the traffic here. Okay, and the return traffic, okay, the return traffic, whenever the ping response will come on this firewall, what again will do, it will again encapsulate this packet. Okay, it will check the routes and it will be pointing towards the IPsec tunnel, and before sending traffic to the IPsec tunnel, it will be encrypting here, and here the encryption bytes will increase and it will be sending out. And whenever the traffic, the encrypted traffic reaches on this firewall one, it will decrypt, right? Here the firewall will decrypt and decryption bytes increase. Encryption means the firewall is sending the traffic code. If encryption bytes are increasing, the firewall sending out. If decryption bytes are increasing, the firewall receiving the traffic. Okay, so by seeing encryption and decryption bytes, you can see whether the issue with the firewall or not. If the firewall has the issue, you need to mention, you need to check whether encapsulation packets and decapsulation packets, if the encapsulation packets are increasing, our firewall is sending the traffic, because our firewall encrypting the packets and sending out. Before sending out, it will encrypt. When the firewall encrypt, these encrypt packets and encryption bytes will increase. Okay, if these encryption packets and encryption bytes increasing here, our firewall is no, there is no issue with the firewall, because the firewall sending the traffic out. But if the decapsulation bytes or decapsulation decryption packets or decryption bytes are not increasing, we are not receiving the traffic, right? So whenever we receive the traffic, we decrypt that. Whenever we decrypt the traffic, our decryption packets and decryption bytes will increase. So whenever this thing is important when you are troubleshooting IPsec related issues. When you need to check is, if traffic is flowing and there is one scenario where both the tunnels are up and the traffic is not flowing through the tunnel. Okay, not flowing through the firewall. you need to check whether the issue with our firewall or other side firewall. So in order to check, you need to check the encapsulation and decapsulation bytes. Okay, if phase one, other scenarios like phase one is up or phase two is up, phase one is not up and phase two is up, or phase two is not up, phase one is up, then in that case you need to check the parameters. Okay, the phase one and phase two mainly depends upon the parameters that we have configured. If any of the parameters are mismatching, it will be what we call, it will not bring the tunnels up. Okay, let's see if our commit is completed or not. All the committed information will be available. Okay, again it got failed. Is not a valid reference. See here, whenever commit failed, we can see the reason. Okay, based upon the reason we need to act. Okay, and here it is showing as an it is not a valid reference because we have removed the 10.1 configuration, right? We can also remove the configuration from here. We don't have this configuration at all. First, just remove this. And here on the IPsec as well. No, right, we don't have. Okay, let's see if this commit will successful or not now. Is there any other commit errors? Okay, gateway local IP is invalid, local IP is not a valid reference. Okay, local IP is not valid reference. Do you have any queries or do you have any questions? 100.1 is conflict with regular interface IP address. Why? Do you have HA? Oh my god. Okay, I will change this address. I will change this IP. Our IP address is conflicting with our other IP, so it is not taking. I will just go with 44.1 and the IK gateway. Just mention this as an 44.1. Just go with this IP address as 44.2. Just commit this. Can also change here as well. The IK gateway also we need to change. Okay, just select this, and here 192.168.44.1, just click on OK, commit. Let's see if if this commit is successful or not. You can also check the commit, if commit is successful or not, from the CLA as well. Okay, there is an command called show jobs all. It will show the all the commit. Okay, this is a commit which I have done. It will show the timestamp as well. I think it was this time it got finished. Okay, it will show the status as finished and result. If result is okay, then only the commit is successful. If it is failed, it will show it as a fail. Okay, and if you want to see that particular why it is failed, show jobs id, and you can mention the id here. We have an id here, right? What is the fail commit id? 4. We have 432. Just go with anyone. Okay, I'm going with 3. It will show the reason as well, whatever the things that we have seen in the GUI. Okay, valid. Okay, why commit is failed, it will show the reason for this. Okay, this is the show jobs all, and show jobs id, and you need to mention the id to check the commit on the CLI. If you want to check, if you want to see the commit jobs on the GI, you can go on the tasks. Okay, it is now completed. And what we need to do is we need to check, we need to verify, right? Here we have commands, right? We already shown that show VPN gateway and show VPN tunnel. Those are the config, those are the commands, CLI commands. And here one more thing here is there is an IKE MGR. Okay, IKE MGR is a daemon. IKMGR is a daemon where all the IPsec logs are logged. Okay, there are two commands for this IKMGR. If you want to see the historical logs, less mplog ikemgr.log. Okay, if you want to see the historical logs, okay, what are the historical logs that you have whenever you have formed an IPsec tunnel, and if you want to see all the historical logs or past logs, you can use an ik less mplog ikmgr log. Or otherwise, if the issue is live, okay, if the issue is live and if you are facing the issue right now, if you want to see the logs, you can go with tail follow s, same mplog ikemgr dot log. These are the two commands where you can see the uh, IPsec logs. Okay, and if you want to see in the GUI, this is in the CLI. If you want to see in the GUI, you can see in the monitor tab system log. Okay, system logs. This is a monitor tab, and you have a system. All the IPsec logs will be seen here. Okay, see here IPsec phase 2. This is IPsec phase 2 success, IK daemon configuration load phase 2 succeeded. Okay, and these are the things that you need to check. Let's see if our tunnels are up or not. To check the IPsec tunnels, go with an IPsec tunnels and just refresh it here. No one of the tunnel is up, right? So in the initial stage, okay, in the initial stage means if you are performing IPsec configuration for the first time, how this tunnel will come up means the tunnels will come up only when there is an traffic flowing through the tunnel. Okay, there is no traffic flowing through the tunnel now, so the tunnel will won't come up until unless there is an interesting traffic. Interesting traffic means whatever the subnets that we have mentioned here. Okay, whenever the traffic flowing through this subnet traffic flowing through this tunnel, then only the what we call the tunnel will come up. Okay, I'm trying, let's suppose I'm trying to ping from 30.30.30.1 to 40.40.40.1. Before that, what I will do is I will take the packet capture. Let's see, we can capture the packets and see how it goes. Okay. If you want to capture the packets, here you need to create a filters. Okay. Just to create a filter between our tunnel interfaces. Okay, between these tunnel interfaces, this 1/1 and 1/3. Here in this case, how you can configure an packet capture, you can just mention 192.168. Okay, 44.12, just destination 192.168.44.2. You can also mention in the reverse. This is for the our traffic flowing from this firewall to this firewall, and whenever the traffic reaching from 192.168.44.2, you can also mention in the reverse traffic as well. Okay, 168.44.1. And this is how you can create an filters, and you need to set the stages as well. Just go with the stages, receive stage, go with an rx2, just go with the file name anyone that you want. Okay, and transmit tx2, I'm going with tx2, and drop. Okay, drop dr2. Okay, just make these three stages, and we have already had other files, right? Just delete that old files which are not needed anymore. And before running this, before I'm initiating a traffic, what I will do is I will turn on the packet capture here, and I will try to ping from 40.30.30.30.1 to 40.1. Okay, this is my 30.1, and we have already also configured this, right? 40.1. What I will do is I will ping from 30.1, ping 40.40.40.1. Let's see if you are able to get. No, we don't have an reachability here. Let's see if you are able to reach the gateway. Ping 30.30.30.10. Yeah, we are able to reach the gateway. Means from here we are able to reach here, but from here I think the packets are not going out. Let's see. We are seeing that rx, tx, and drop. What we have in the rx? I think our tunnel came up, but the traffic is not flowing. See here we have phase 1 and phase 2. After phase 2 we don't have any ESP packet because our actual traffic will be carried by ESP, right? So let's see if the tunnels are up or not. Yeah, see here the tunnel came up, right? If whether you reach or you are not reaching the firewall, that is if you are pinging from 30.30.30.1 to 40.40.40.1, whether it is reachable or not, but we have initiated the traffic, right? The traffic is flown through the tunnel, right? There, so our traffic reaches our traffic flown through the tunnel, and it will be our the tunnels came up, but our tunnels came up, but the traffic is not flowing, right? So our tunnels came up, but we are not able to reach the other side. Okay, so in that case what we need to do is we need to check whether encapsulation decapsulation bytes are increasing. Before that we can check the packets. Okay, dropped packets, which packets are dropped. monitor, packet capture, drop packet. Which packets are dropped? Only first packet. I think 40. Mm, no, the first packet itself is dropped. That's it. But here, if we see here, we are seeing identification. What is this? We have seen only the three packets on the main mode, but we haven't seen any packet from 40.40.2, 44.2. But we have seen the ESP packet here. Mm, let's see if we have any encapsulation and decapsulation bytes. Show VPN flow tunnel or name, tunnel name. What is that? IKE phase 2 tunnel, right? See here we are seeing an encapsulation packets but not a decapsulation packets, right? I will show you in the GUI as well. If you want to see policies, sorry, network tunnels, those encapsulation and decapsulation bytes will be in the tunnel info. If you see here, we have an packet encapsulation. We have 5 packets but no decapsulation, means this firewall is sending over the traffic but we are not receiving, because and maybe the issue is with this firewall. Let's see if we have the same thing here as well. There is no issue with this firewall. Okay, firewall one, because it is encapsulated and is sending out, but this firewall is not, we are not receiving any packet from this firewall. We can also check the status here. Network IPsec tunnels. Here also IPsec tunnels are up. Okay, let's check the status. We have a decapsulation but there is no encapsulation, means the traffic is not sending out. We have a decapsulation, means the traffic is receiving on this firewall. We are seeing the decapsulation packet but not encapsulation, means this firewall is not sending the traffic. Let's see whether we have reachability here from here. Let's see ping 40.40.40.1, sorry 10. We are able to reach here, but can we ping from 30.30.30.1 from here? No, from here we are not able to reach. Maybe if you are seeing this, okay, if you are seeing, if you are not able to reach to the other sites, okay, from here to here or here to here, there are two things that you need to check. First thing you need to check is an security policy, and next thing you need to check is an static route. Okay, we need to check the static route and also as well as the security policy. Here in the security policy, we already had this one. Okay, inside to VPN, VPN to inside, and What is the static route? Thirty dot 30.30.0/24. Do you have a route? We have 30.30.30.0. The next hop is 0.0.0.0. Tell interface 1. Default route, static route 40.40.40.0/2. That's fine. Let's see if you are able to reach. Ping host 192.168.44.2 from source. Ping source 192.168.44.12. Host 192.168.44.2. We don't have reachability here between both sites. Between these sites we are not able to reach. Let's check the configuration once. Network interface Ethernet 1/3 192.168.44.1 and network interface. Yeah, 192.168.44.2. We have a route. Okay, there may be any policy which is I will check here. Destination host unreachable. I think there are some issue with the policies. I will check and I will let you know. Okay.
Okay, Karthik, no issue.
Yeah, actually, the basic thing is you need to check whether the policies, the IPsec tunnels are not up or not. But IPsec tunnels are up, but the traffic is not reaching. Maybe there is some issue with the policies or static route. I have checked everywhere, but uh, I think there are some issues. I will check deeply and I will let you know. Okay, tomorrow by same on
Fine.
the class. Okay. You have any questions or any clarifications on this?
No, Karthik, I'm fine.
Okay, okay, that's perfect. And just go through this video once, okay? And
Sure, I'll
let me know. Let me know if you have any questions.
definitely.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Can continue the tomorrow class same time, okay?
Okay, okay, Karthik. See you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.